Like before, I jumped from branch to branch, picking each apple and placing them in the buckets. The process was pretty hard work, but it was also fun. After around 10 minutes of going through the tree, I picked all the apples and carried them to the wagon. I placed them in the wagon and grabbed two more empty buckets. Both Applejack and Big Mac were doing pretty well too. They both finished their trees and placed them in the wagon as well. They were a little behind me, but that didn't stop me from working. As minutes rolled by, the temperature from the sun increased, making it really hot. I was wiping sweat off of my head as I continued picking the apples and placing them in the buckets. I finally finished my two buckets and sighed as I landed on the ground. Damn, it's getting hotter and hotter every second. I couldn't take the heat and I took off my shirt, feeling a slow, cool breeze brush against my sweaty body. I placed my shirt on my shoulder and started taking the buckets to the wagon. I saw Applejack there and was done with her next load of apples. She wiped some sweat off of her head and sighed. Golly, never knew the heat would go up like this. Then turned around. I'm nearly sweating like a... She stopped and saw me without my shirt on and was blushing like crazy until her face was as red as the apples. Oh, the heat was getting intense and I took off my shirt to prevent heat stroke, he explained. She hesitantly nodded and shook her head. Uh, okay. Come on, we got a few more buckets left. I nodded and grabbed two more. Two of us got the two trees that were next to each other and we started picking them. I saw AJ was eyeing me a little while I was picking the apples as her blush increased, looking at my muscular body. Taking advantage of this, I decided to tease her a little. Enjoying the show, AJ? I teased while smirking. That made AJ's face flare bright crimson, and she darted her eyes away from me and continued picking the apples. I simply chuckled and continued picking the apples. As I did, I noticed that she was still eyeing me a little and saw her blush increase once more. I wanted to tease her a little, but decided not to, since she was so embarrassed already. After the course of around 2.5 hours, we finally finished picking 300 apples. I wiped the last of my sweat and sighed. Man, that was a lot of hard work, but it was also pretty fun, I said. Thank you kindly for helping us out, Sugar Cube, Applejack thanked. Anytime, AJ. I put my shirt back on and saw it was much to her disappointment. Oh, why not? I decided to tease her again for a little fun. You okay, AJ? She jolted a little and blushed. Yeah, I'm fine, smirked a little. What, you liked it when I don't have my shirt on? Her face flared bright crimson again. No, I laughed. I'm just teasing you, AJ, I said, patting her back. Come on, we gotta get these apples to Ponyville Town Square. AJ, Mac, and I walked down the path to Ponyville with a wagon full of apples. Glad you helped us out, Daniel. We could have never get this done without your help, Mac said, smiling. I smiled back. It's a pleasure to help you and AJ out any way I can. I finally made it to the town square and we saw a stallion. He had cream fur, rich black mane and tail, a blue business suit, and had a money bag cutie mark on his arm. I'm guessing this guy is filthy rich. Ah, Applejack and Big Mac, you've arrived right on schedule. You never cease to impress me, he said. Well, we would have never got it done without some help from a certain sun pony, Applejack said, smiling. Really? And who might this certain pony be? He asked. That would be me, sir, I replied, getting his attention. He was a little surprised by me, but then asked, And who might you be? Smiled and held out my hand. My name is Daniel Blaze, the human, and you must be Mr. Rich. It's a pleasure to meet the wealthiest stallions in Ponyville. He smiled and shook my hand. A pleasure to meet you as well, Daniel. He then released my hand and looked back at the two farmers. So he's the one who helped you two out? Yes, sir. And he's one mighty good worker, Applejack commented. I see. He looked back at me. I'd like to thank you for helping them out, Mr. Daniel. It was a pleasure, Mr. Rich, I replied, smiling. Smiling back, he then replied, Now then, I believe I owe you some bits for your service. He then brought out 3 cases and opened them, revealing hundreds of bits. AJ and Max smiled and took the cases. Thank you for doing business with us, Filthy Rich. We'll be looking forward to your next order, Applejack thanked. Any time, Rich said as he whistled for 2 of his servants and they started carrying the wagon. We watched them walk out of sight, and we then walked back to the farm with 3 cases of bits. Wow-wee! That was the best order we've ever made, Applejack cheered. Yep, Big Mac said, nodding. I couldn't agree more. We still can't thank you enough for your help, Sugar Cube. Applejack thanked me. I smiled. It was a pleasure to help you, Applejack. With that, both her and Big Mac smiled. Wait out here and we'll get your payment for the day. I nodded and the two walked into the house. I waited around 5 minutes and Applejack came back out with a huge sack. This sack contains 80 bits and it's yours, he handed me the bag. Wow, that's a lot of bits! You sure you want to give me this much? I asked. Take it, partner. It's the least we can do for your help after the way you went through the day with us, he said, smiling. I smiled and placed the sack in my bag. Thanks. I then placed my jacket back on and placed my sword and bag on my back. AJ! We turned and saw Big Mac coming to us. Why don't you take the rest of the day off? I can take care of things from here. You sure, Big Mac? I don't want you to hurt yourself again, Derek said, unsure. I'll be fine. Now go on and be with your friends. And Daniel, he said, turning to me. Yeah? Look after my sis for me, okay? He asked, winking at me. Knowing what he meant, I blushed deeply. Big Mac! AJ shouted while blushing deeply as well. I'm only kidding, he said, walking off, leaving us alone. Awkward silence fell between us until AJ's phone went off. She took it out and answered. Howdy. Yeah, we're at the farm. What? She's back? All right, we'll be there shortly. You hung her phone up and placed it in her pocket. Who was that? I asked. That was Twilight. No, that was Twilight. She's telling us to meet her and the others at the town square immediately, he explained. Why? I'm so confused. No time. Come on, she said and grabbed my hand, and the two of us started running towards the square. We finally made it to the town square again and saw it was different. There was a traveling stage along with a crowd of ponies circling the front. Guess we made it just in time. We ran up to our friends who were in the front of the stage. Glad you two made it, Twilight said. Two of us nodded. The front stage opened and dark blue smoke was everywhere. Come one! Come all! Come and witness the astounding comeback of the great and powerful Trixie! A voice called out from nowhere.